So what if I told you you got a boost of income of £5,000 every month? But what if I had to tell you had to spend that extra 5,000 on stuff, so you're actually not better off at all? This is something everyone falls into. If we get a paycheck, suddenly we're on a shopping spree, or we have something called lifestyle inflation, where the more money we have, the more money we spend on stuff. Today, I'm going to be chatting about the top ways we can counteract this and what is actually driving this crazy psychological thing that we all do. The more money we have, we feel a little bit more free, and we're less feeling like we're in a state of unease and that we're going to be crushed by all the bills because we have more money. And this way, we become less mindful about our spending. And therefore, it makes it way easier to buy stuff that we actually don't need. And why does it happen? It essentially happens because if we get a boost of income, if it's a bonus from work, or maybe we did get a promotion, we feel like we deserve something and we feel like we have the right to spend that extra income. And we may not have any financial goals in our head and how we can actually use that money to benefit us in the future. And a way to counteract this is if you happen to have a promotion and get a big boost of income, that's great and fair play to you. But what you should do is live at the same level of what you're living now and save the difference. But if your salary is going from $3,000 a month to $6,000 a month, that's a massive jump. However, if you decide then that you're going to get a really big Range Rover and it's going to cost you £800 on every month, okay, you upgrade from a 1-bed flat to a 2-bed flat. So instead of paying $2,000 a month, you now pay $3,000 a month. That is $1,800 already that you've spent of that extra $3,000 that you've gained. And then maybe you go for more brunches, you maybe eat out in fancier restaurants, and before you know it, you've absolutely annihilated all that extra income that you've achieved by working in this higher level job. So you can of course set specific goals for yourself. So no matter what your income is, you should create a budget. I have a budget template which I'll pop in the description below, but essentially what you need to do is understand your needs, your wants and your savings. And before you get that boost of income, write out a bit of a plan for yourself. It can be super quick, it doesn't have to take long, and you can do a percentage of saving. So if you get paid £3,000 as a salary and you were saving £600, which is 20%. If you boost your salary and now make £6,000, essentially, if you're following the same logic of saving 20%, you are going to be saving £1,200 there. So not just continuously saving the same amount of £600, even if you're on a high fling job. It's about doing percentages and saving in line with how much money you have as a percentage. Point number 2 is the more is better mentality. We often all fall into this, like if we had more stuff or better quality stuff, that we would have a better life for ourselves and be considered like we're doing things right and we're successful. So if our income grows, we may feel pressure or even just subconsciously buy more stuff because that will seem like we're more successful and that we could create more fulfillment in our life. So let's take, for example, this couch. This is an IKEA couch. It's pretty comfortable, it's grand. But if I got a boost in income, would we then buy a really extravagant L-shaped couch that's like £5,000? Yes, that would be nice, but in my eyes, having a couch that's worth £500 versus £5,000, I would rather use that £4,500 of a difference and put into my savings, and so I can retire early, so I could maybe buy a cooler place in the future, like a loft. That's my value, that's my dream. I don't need more stuff particularly to seem like I've fulfilled in life. So if you shift your mindset into more is better, but actually less is more, then you'll start to be a bit more grateful for the items that you do have and start to feel like you don't need more stuff to fill a void inside of you. If you're constantly buying stuff because you just feel a little bit crap about your current life, that's okay if you are aware of those feelings. But if you're only buying stuff to get more dopamine because you feel a bit rubbish about your life, you're not solving the initial core problem there. You need to figure out those emotions first. What's driving that? What's causing the stress? Is it actually the job? Is it the company that you work for is causing stress? Is it your current lifestyle? Do you have a smoking habit? Are you eating really bad? Like, what are the main things that are making you feel really down that you have to impulse buy all of the time? Number 3 is the desire for instant gratification. We are always bombarded about how we can get things for now. We can buy stuff on Amazon and get it delivered the exact same day, right? Honestly, this instant gratification can be an absolute killer, especially if we're walking into shops and seeing stuff on sale, and the rush of purchasing can often override any financial goals we were even thinking about in the future. future. A solution to this is to practice delayed gratification. So the next time you see an item, whether it's a really funky armchair that costs a few pounds, or even if it's clothes or just knickknacks, if you wait 3 days before you buy an item, you are less likely to even want to have that item after 3 days. You may think to yourself, okay, I don't need another armchair, I've already got 3 in this room, or I don't need another dress, I've already got 10 actually, so I'm just not going to buy that one. If you put a pause there, you will stop this instant gratification and that instant loop of always buying stuff just because you have money in the bank account. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best use of your money, and if you put a pause there for yourself and a bit of a boundary, it will actually help you have less stuff in the future and enjoy the things that you do love. And it's okay after 3 days you're like, no, I really want that armchair. Like, cool, if you have the money to do that, go for it. But it's about being intentional with our spending and not just buying the first thing that we see. Number 4 is lifestyle inflation trap. You may want to keep up with the Joneses kind of mentality. So if your colleague lives in this really high flyer, cool flat in central London, when you get a promotion, you may want to increase your lifestyle as well and live in a similar way as your colleague does. But no two people are the same. Your colleague may be on a higher salary, they might come from really wealthy parents, they actually might be in crippling debt, they actually might be really unhappy with the life that they have. So trying to compare ourselves to others is never going to benefit us in the future. So if you're really conscious about lifestyle inflation and to try and live the same lifestyle as what you were living on the lower salary, you can of course build a massive amount of wealth there. If you go into investing, you can actually retire early. So let's say you're able to save £600 additionally now that you got this promotion, okay? If you invest that £600 every month for the next 20 years in something like an S&P 500, this is how much money you would have. It's astronomical. However, if you were to spend that £600 every month on eating out, an expensive car, maybe a more lavish apartment, you will have a big fat zero in investments after 20 years. So which one is better for your future self and the financial goals that you want to live by? Number 5 is emotional spending, aka retail therapy. If we're really stressed out at our job or our family are driving us nuts, sometimes we run to the nearest clothes shop and just buy something. Or the biggest kryptonite is things like online shops like Zara or ASOS or anything where you can get a cute cardigan for like £20. We're like, yeah, I'll buy that, and try not to feel guilty about it because it's only £20, right? However, when we start to step back and understand how many times we've done that in the month, it might have been every Saturday we spend £20, or it may be every 2 days we buy £5 worth of stuff. It all accumulates over time, and it means we've more crap, quite honestly, in our home, and also things that we don't truly intentionally want or need. So examples to counteract this is if it's pure boredom, maybe you need a hobby in your life to actually get off the internet and stop buying clothes. If it's genuinely that you feel really stressed, maybe things like journaling, so you can write down your thoughts and understand how you're actually feeling to process them. Or even if things have gotten really bad with work and stress and you're feeling very anxious, of course see a therapist. That's really important to understand and regulate your emotions. Or sometimes all we need is just a really funny, fun catch up with your friend and natter over a cup of tea and a slice of cake, and then you feel better after just catching up with someone that you've grown up with. So understand what's triggering a lot of those retail therapy, emotional spending sprees, or you can of course fix the problem rather than keep spending money on the damn thing. I'll pop a video here which I think will really help you on your wealth journey and having less stuff. But I tend to post 2 videos a week, guys, so if you like this kind of content, I'd appreciate subscribe. But if not, no pressure, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.